Welcome back. Now, we want to solve example on De'moivres theorem. Now, example 1 says express square root of 3 over 2 plus I over 2 all raised to the power of 88 in the form z equals to x plus iy. How do you go about this question? These are questions under De'moivres theorem. It might look kind of complicated, but just let your mind be committed to it. Let your mind be committed to it. So they said express this guy. So I can just say, okay, first thing, let me say, let my complex number be what? Square root of 3 over 2 plus, this I over 2. It's the same thing as saying, okay, I 1 over 2. Just for you to know that, okay, in form of x plus iy. Share you get. This I over 2 is the same thing as saying I multiply by 1 over 2. I multiply by 1 will go back to I over 2, right? So what do you now do after that? You say compare. So we say compare with, what are we going to compare with? Z equals to x plus iy. So when you compare with z equals to x plus iy, you now say what is our x? Our x represents what? When you compare this with this, our x will be what? Square root of 3 over 2. And what will be our y? Our y will be, that's why I separated it. What will be your y? Your y will be what? 1 over 2. Do you understand? So our y will be what? 1 over 2. So after we've gotten x and y, the next thing is to get our what? Our magnitude and argument. So how do you get your magnitude? Don't forget the formula. R equals to square root of x squared plus y squared. Please, if you don't know how we got this formula, please click on the playlist below this video. It will lead you to the videos we've done on what? On complex number. So now, what do we now have? R will now be equals to square root of, what was our x? Our x is square root of 3. Our x is square root of 3 over 2, all square, right? Then plus, what's our y? Our y is 1 over 2, all square, right? So that will give us R equals to square root of, this is just like saying square root of 3 all square. You take your own square, you take your own square, and I can say 2 square. That's the meaning. You take your square. When you have x over y all square, it's the same thing as saying x square over y square, right? So you take your own power, y you take your own power. Then the same thing here will be 1 square over what? 2 square. So what are we going to have? R will now be equals to square root of, this will cancel this, right? What do we have? 3. Then over 2 square is what? 4 plus what? 1 square is 1, 2 square is what? 4. So what do we now have? Here will give us what? What is the LCM? 4. 4 in 4, 1. 1 times 3 is 3. Plus 4 in 4, 1. 1 times 1 is what? 1. What do we now have? R will be equals to square root of what? 4 over 4. So what do we have? That will be square root of 1, right? And square root of 1 is what? 1. So our R is what? 1. Let's now go for the argument. How do you get argument? Theta is gotten from what? Tan inverse of what? Y over x, right? Now, what do we now have? What is our y? That will be theta will now be equals to tan inverse of, our y is what? 1 over 2, then over what? Square root of 3 over 2. Now, what do you now do? That will be, mathematically, that will be tan inverse of, the answer will be what? 1 over square root of 3, right? That will be 1 over square root of 3. Now, how do I arrive at 1 over square root of 3? When you have 1 over 2, this is divided by square root of 3 over 2. When you change it to multiplication, that will be 1 over 2 multiplied by, this will go up, this will come down, 2 over square root of 3. 2 cancel 2, what are we left with? 1 over square root of 3. You understand? So, now, tan inverse of, so when you do tan inverse of 1 divided by square root of 3, so what are we going to have? We are going to have 30 degree. That will be theta is equals to what? 30 degree. So you're going to get 30 degree when you press tan inverse of 1 divided by square root of 3. So our argument is what? 30 degree. Now what do you now do? Let's return it back. Recall the formula that says z is equals to r into bracket cos theta plus I sin theta, right? So when we return it back inside this formula, that will be our complex number z will be, what's our r? 1. Then cos 30 degree plus I sin 30 degree. But this is not where we are going to, right? Now it has a power of 88. Now, meaning we are to use the De'moivres formula. So recall the De'moivres formula. You know, when you do this, it's still the same thing. 1 multiplied by this is still the same thing. Cos 30 degree plus I sine 30 degree. Now, using the De'moivres formula, let's recall the De'moivres formula, which says z to the power of n is equals to r to the power of n. What did they now say? Cos n theta plus I sine n theta, right? Using the De'moivres formula. Now, what is our n? Our n is the power here, which is the 88, right? Our n is the power here, which is the 88. So, meaning that what? When you now have z to the power of 88, what is it going to be? What's our r? What did we get for r? 1. That will be 1 to the power of 88, right? Then into bracket cos. So what do we have? Our n is what? 88 multiplied by, what's our theta? Now, theta is what? 30 degree, right? So, but you know, we have to put it in form of what? Radian. So let's put it in form of radian before we continue. Let's put it in form of radian. Now, if you want to convert 30 degree to radian, 30 degree to radian, how do you go about it? That's 30 degree multiplied by pi over 180, right? So here will be 6. That will be pi over 6. It means now here will be what? That's cos pi over 6 plus I sine pi over 6. So now it means that this theta is the same thing as what? Pi over 6. The theta is the same thing as pi over 6. So that will be pi over 6. Then plus I sine. That will now be 88, right? Multiplied by pi 88. I'm not sure you'll be able to. Will you be able to see it? Let me just write it again. Sorry about that. That's z to the power of 88 equals to 1 to the power of 88. Then that will be cos. So here will be, what is our n? 88 multiplied by pi over 6. Then plus I sine. That's 88 multiplied by pi over 6. Right? So what do we have? What can go in 88 and can go in 6? That's 2. 2 in 88 will give us what? That's z to the power of 88. 1 to the power of 88 is what? It's still 1, right? So here will now be cos. What can go? 2 can go in 40. In 88 will give us 44. Multiplied by pi will give us 44 pi over 2 in 6 will give us what? 3. Then plus I sine. That's 44 pi over 3. Do you get? So now, when we get to this part, there is one simple logic you will do. One simple logic. Okay? Before we do the logic, so you can pause the video while you write this or you take a screenshot. Now, this is the logic you will do. The logic works anywhere. So we have z to the power of 88. You know, 1 multiplied by everything is still the same thing. That's cos. We have 44 pi over 3 plus I sine 44 pi over 3, right? Now, the logic we are going to do here is just very, very simple. And what is the logic? This is the logic. It means this cos 44 pi, I can write it as, now, what can we multiply with 3? You look for what we can multiply with 3. That will give us this 44. Now, if there's no number, you know, it cannot, there's no number we can multiply with 3 that will give us the exact 44 because they can't divide initially from the beginning. So they can't divide, so there's no number that will give us the exact 44. But look for a number that when you multiply, it will give you close to 44. Close to that 44. Now, let's check. We'll do try and error method. Let's use 3 times 20 is 60. It's more than 44. So 20 can go. Let's use 3 multiplied by 15. That's 45. It's more than the 44 we're looking for. So let's use 3 multiplied by 14. That's 42, right? 3 multiplied by 14 is what? 42. So what will it remain? So you say 14 pi, then plus, it remains, that 42, it remains what to complete 44? It remains 2. So you call it 2 pi, then you say over 3. Now watch the logic. Let's do the LCM of this guy. You know, this one is just like over 1. The LCM is 3. 1 in 3, 3. 3 multiplied by 14 is what? 3 multiplied by 14 is 42 pi. That will give us 42 pi. 3 in 3, 1. 1 multiplied by 2 pi is what? Plus 2 pi. 42 pi plus 2 pi will give us what? 44 pi over 3. Did we now go back to 44 pi over 3? You see the logic? So it works. It works anyway. So now let's go on. So we have plus I sine. You do the same thing here. So we'll do the same thing to the sine also. So what do we have? We'll have sine. So here will be 14 pi plus 2 pi over 3. Do you get? So now, what do you just do? Just neglect this 14 pi. It's not useful again. So we'll say cos. What are we left with? 2 pi over 3 plus I sine 2 pi over 3. So this is our answer for z to the power of what? 88. So you neglect this 14, we don't need it again. So just take this 2 pi over 3. Or better still, this is our answer, or we can convert it to degree. Converting 2 pi over 3 to degree, you know that will be multiplied by what? 180 degree over pi, right? You know it's in radian, want to convert it to degree. 30 here, 30, 3 here, 1, 3 in 180 will give us what? 60. 2 times 60, you know there's 2 here, times 60 is what? 120. Meaning I can put my answer as z to the power of 88 equals to, I can call it cos 120 degree plus I sine 120 degree. Do you understand? And that's how we get the final answer. This is how we get the final answer. So it's very, very simple. I hope you understand. So this is just how we solve questions like this. So if you find this video helpful, please don't forget to what? To like this video and share this video. And please, if you don't understand, reach out to us. We're always willing to explain. Thank you.